What should people stop buying? Reddit Silver. Reddit took something that people did for fun as a meme and charged people for it, and people are paying actual money now for the honor. Time for Reddit Bronze. Reddit Garlic. Glitter. I used biodegradable glitter at a wedding I was working, and it was one of the worst messes I've ever had to clean up. It was sticky, it smelled weird, and stained everything. The bride got some down the front of her dress, and her chest was a damn rainbow of melted taffy when we took it off, to go to the bathroom and change into the more comfortable reception dress. But, I'll bet the sea turtles liked it. I'd like to see a more viable biodegradable glitter. I'm in a couple of zero waste lifestyle Facebook groups. I'm not gonna go zero waste, just trying to go less waste, and I've seen a lot of fun ideas for confetti and other things for weddings and parties. People like using leaves or other natural things that they cut down to make confetti. Honestly, I'd prefer flower petals and leaves over glitter any day, even if I didn't give a shit about the environment. Using a paper cutter, you can make really cute leaf confetti, and I'm all about that. But, you have to be careful to use healthy trees native to your region to avoid spreading elm disease or ash borers. We had a couple use lavender once, and that was incredible. It made for gorgeous photos and smelled amazing. We did lavender at our wedding. Fantastic. How expensive did that get? Did you use dried lavender or fresh plants? Sounds like a great idea. For us, using dried lavender, it cost about $50. I bought it online, got 20 pounds and had quite a bit left over. We had around 300 people, for reference. Potpourri for the rest of your life. MLM products. I recently met someone on an online friends site, and he was oddly persistent in getting together. I asked if he was going to try to sell me something. "Oh, not at all," he replied. When we finally got together, it was going to be business-minded people just talking about business concepts and going out for drinks. Sounded like shit, but okay, I'll give him a shot. MLM right off the bat. I didn't have anything better to do and drove an hour, so I hung out. After the hour-long presentation, the gal in front of me, who uses the product and her brother is one of the 3 guys presenting, turns to ask me if I'm joining. I said no, and she stumbled and asked, "Oh, but you're going to buy some?" And I said no again. She was flabbergasted and had no idea how to respond. My wife was having issues making friends in our new city. She met this girl at Target who was really nice, common interests, genuinely friendly. She and her husband pulled my wife along for a full month before pushing the MLM thing. My wife said she's from Grand Rapids, home of Amway, where it's not seen negatively, so she signs up, has a party, and immediately this couple is like, "We have meetings 3 days a week, you are required to be at 2 of them." She pieced out quick, got all her money back as part of a guarantee. Now as soon as people ask, we just say no and ask them to stop talking to us. She is still struggling with friends because of it. She trusts no one. Too much of one thing. It's one thing to recycle, but it goes reduce, reuse then recycle, so we should really aim to reduce first. Edit. I fixed my shitty formatting. Don't forget refuse. Loot boxes. EA would be cry all day long. Edit. You thanks for the gold, but you should stop buying those. Puppy mill dogs. Hashtag X200B. Edit. Thanks everybody for upvotes and precious metals. My only achievement is that I noticed the question relatively soon, as there are many of you who would have answered the same. I'm not sure if I'm happy for this much upvotes, as it mostly shows how deep, widespread and ugly is the problem. And most exotics sold in pet stores. At least, many pet stores in my country, our mills, and some even sell wild-caught animals without telling you. Those spa-feeling soaps with millions of microplastics. Edit. In the European Union they are still legal, they are trying to ban them, but still legal in here. The European Chemicals Agency says that 10,000 to 60,000 tons of microplastics intentionally added to products leak into the environment yearly, are impossible to remove and last for thousands of years. The restriction is expected to become law across Europe by 2020. Source, eb.org. I am a soap maker. I make everything from scratch. This is one of the biggest complaints from us soap artisans, MLM companies spewing garbage about how their soap cures acne, cure diabetes, cures erectile dysfunction, blah blah, all natural. Why? Black raspberry vanilla isn't all natural, it's a fragrance. Which is fine, but not all natural. Using cheap plastic glitter, microbeds is a huge no-no for us handcrafters. We use jojoba wax beads and NVR glitter, mineral based. Freaking con artists. Steps off soapbox. I really want to buy your soap because of that pun. I normally don't even like puns, but that one was perfect. Yeah, I like how it was subtly slipped in. K-Cups. Exceptionally weak coffee, incredibly exaggerated packaging, hard on the landfills, equipment costs are double, if not triple, conventional coffee makers, and potentially harmful buildup of bacteria in the machines. K-Cups are a novelty that really turned mainstream and should go back to being in a museum. Before everyone downvotes me to hell, I am not sending the police in for your K-Cups, I just think a lot of people should rethink these little gems. Even the inventor regrets it. I thought I read that somewhere. If I remember correctly, the intent behind K-Cups were to give people at home an easy occasional espresso experience. If that was the goal, then Keurig got pho by Nespresso and managed to waste more plastic doing it. And Nespresso uses metal and helps people recycles their pods for free. Nestle can still go duck themselves though. Balloons. At first I wanted to object, but yeah, balloons are total shit. When I was 5, I accidentally let go of a helium balloon and it drifted off into the sky. I still think about what happened to my balloon. It climbed at a linear rate. As altitude increased, atmospheric pressure decreased. The balloon expanded until reaching a diameter that was too much to sustain, and then it burst. The exploded balloon accelerated downward at 9.8 ms/2 until reaching terminal velocity, which isn't much for a balloon. Eventually it fell to the ground. Forgotten. Probably like your live streams. I saw quite a bunch of flying balloons in my life and I've never seen them maintain the climb rate. Usually at a certain altitude they would visibly just hover in that range. Diamonds. They're pretty, but that's all they are. They're not even rare. I know a jeweler and diamond dealer that works in the diamonds district in NYC. He said that years ago they tossed all brown diamonds they received into the actual trash because they were considered worthless and not worth their time in the slightest. Now they are considered a luxury pieces under the name chocolate diamonds, which sounds a lot better than brown diamonds. Poop diamonds. See a Dr. Cameron. Reddit ads. Reddit Gold, or how they call it now, Premium. No joke, wild caught fish. Thanks to bottomnet trawlers like this one i.shmg.com, every fishery in the world is becoming critically threatened, and most have already seen almost catastrophic depletion. When you buy sushi, or cod or halibut from the store, you're buying a product that has been harvested unethically. I'm not a huge tree hugger, but those nets don't discriminate, they catch and kill everything. My grandfather fished the high seas for 30 years, and he always said that the scariest thing he had ever seen was a giant commercial trawler with a 3 kilometers long drag net pull up more fish he had ever seen in one fell swoop, and they do this all day every day that they are allowed. The oceans will very likely be completely depleted in less than 30 years if the current rate of consumption continues. There are many places you can research more about this, but I suggest looking here if you want more info, marineconservation.org. I was listening to a podcast and the guy on it was saying if we took nets and dragged them through forests and it killed everything in its path, people would be up in arms about it, we'd think it was disgusting and eventually pass laws to stop it. But we don't think the same way with the ocean. It was a really good point and put me off buying fish. All the useless crap that goes broken in a year. Pretty much everything that's not durable. My brother's entire life revolves around buying junk and throwing it out. I think he prefers to buy cheap crap because it means he gets to buy more cheap crap again later. Some people also just don't see the value in quality. Why should I pay $50 when I can buy the same thing for $10? It doesn't matter how much you explain that the $50 one is going to last 10 times as long, because somewhere else sells it for cheaper. They view its inherent worth as $10. As someone who loves to cook and appreciates good quality cookware, I see this a lot with people buying cheapy pans and stuff. Edit. Guys, no one is saying to blindly drop a shit ton of money on something just because it's more expensive. The point is that better quality stuff is usually more expensive than low quality stuff. Just because something is more expensive doesn't guarantee that it's better quality, sure, but that doesn't negate that higher quality stuff generally costs more. Also, no one is saying to drop a bunch of money on something you're going to use once and don't care about the quality of. This conversation obviously pertains to things that you want to last and work well for their intended purpose. I think it's hard to convince people of this when there are luxury versions that charge more and aren't better, just fancier. It's harder for them to tell the difference between the $50 one with a fancier name, and the $50 one that's an indestructible tank. So they just go with the $10 and not put in the effort to research it. Which is also part of the problem with the cheap ones. They tend to be closer to that impulse buy price range.